Welcome to Souls of Symmetry. My name is Bob, and I'm happy to be here with all of you. We are for entertainment purposes only, and we are purposefully entertaining on this channel. A massive thank you for joining the show. Episode 5, and the title is The Fight to Save Our Pineal Gland. We discussed numerous methods of depopulation on episode 4, with the promise to return on following shows with more detail on each. Episode 5 is going to concentrate on fluoride and its effect on our brains, specifically the pineal gland. The pineal gland is known as the seat of the soul, the spiritual doorway to the soul, and also our third eye. You will realize why this is later in the show, and you will also come to realize why the dark forces are coming after it. If you grew up in the 80s, you must remember mom and dad taking you to the dentist for a fluoride treatment. The dark forces pulled a brilliant move by luring all us kids into the dentist because of flavors such as bubblegum, cherry, and grape. The same dentist also drilled on some molars and filled them in with a mercury-based silver filling. A little later in life, another dentist, another business, because we all know this is a business that needs to make money, removed 4 wisdom teeth because of some so-called issue called compacting. Number 1, we have never known what the actual ingredients in these fluoride treatments were. Number 2, mercury is poison. Wikipedia confirms that it's toxic to your nervous system, your immune system, and your kidneys. Number 3, if we are all made in the image of God, I refuse to believe that we were made in a way that is necessary for them to remove 4 gigantic molars. Figures they took our wisdom teeth out. The bastards got mine. Originally, studies show that the natural element fluoride prevents tooth decay. In the Great Awakening, we've all become aware of fluoride being used in everyday products such as toothpaste, dental offices, and water fluoridation. However, it is said what is actually being used is as follows: sodium fluoride, sodium silicofluoride, and fluorosilicic acid. It is said that these are toxic waste substances that are byproducts from the production of fertilizer, aluminum, and the steel industry. These are not the natural element fluoride. These are industrial waste products that are not a pharmaceutical grade product. You can find a lot of controversy online about all of this, but my belief is that it's best for us to stay far away from anything containing fluoride. Why does a toothpaste containing fluoride have a poison label on the box, and a fluoride-free toothpaste does not? Studies show that these byproducts are calcifying our pineal gland. This makes your lie detector function not available. In other words, your tuition suffers greatly. We're going to bring up a picture here of a calcified pineal gland. Okay. Here's another picture that I found on the internet. Please take a moment to pause and read this. I find it very interesting that all I've been seeing on the run in the morning are pine cones laying all over the ground. Maybe that's a sign. All right. The dark forces are making a huge profit off of these byproducts that should be disposed of. What do we say about the wheel, the CDC, the cabal, the dark forces? These fools are still praising its positive effects. We're going to come back to this with a verse from the Bible, but I just want to reiterate that the dark forces want you to remain asleep. They do not want you feeding your minds. They do not want you utilizing more than 2% of your brain. They're doing everything they can to keep it cluttered with distractions. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, how important is it who becomes the MVP of the NFL? But you know what, folks? People are starting to realize that their destinies are in their own hands. And that's just what we're going to do. We're going to say peace out to these barbaric sneaks. We know who you are now, and we know now we want more from this life. As we said in the last one, Trump and RFK are going to clean this up in the water department. We're not done here. It is up to us to boycott these fluoride-ridden products. We're just as important to the process as we need to rise up and defeat the evil here. It's time for us to turn the tables, to enter the golden age, to enter the age of Aquarius. By the way, did you know that what the motto is for Age of Aquarius? It is I know. You know what that means? You know what that leads to? That leads to the age of consciousness. It's time for all of us to start living under the principles of the law of one, live in abundance. And in order to do that, we need to unite. And we all need to recognize that the evil is all around us. It is time to eliminate the evil, which will eliminate the fear, which comes to us from the illness we get from the poison that they're giving us. Sunglasses are suicide. I don't want to spend too much time here. I know we've reviewed a little bit about this in the past episode, but let me take a minute to explain the double-pronged evil approach the dark forces have gone with this one. All right, they make sunglasses. They probably cost $3 per pair to make. We put the sunglasses on. It tricks our pineal gland into thinking that it's cloudy outside. And therefore, the body's not producing enough vitamin D to protect the skin. So the dark forces are selling these $3 cost products to make, selling them for $300 after they put them on cool-ass celebrities and everybody buys them. But the bigger fortune is made on the skin cancer treatment that they're providing, that people are getting because of these little suicide devices they developed, and they overcharge us for them. You must realize the attack on the mind, the pineal gland, has a huge connection to the divine, to our creator, Yahshua HaMashiach. There's one verse that I found that I believe is related to the pineal gland in the Bible. It is Genesis 32, verse 30. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. And now I think it's appropriate for us to do a deeper dive spiritually on the pineal gland. I've seen a couple videos on a couple guys talking about this subject, but I think I found the top-notch perspective on it. This subject has to do with a sacred process that's been hidden from us. Okay, I follow a couple different people that talk about this, but I think the best person to follow is a man by the name of Santos Bonacci. You can find him on YouTube and Rumble. He has amazing content, and I think he delivers the best perspective on this sacred process. We have a 20-minute clip of him and another person talking all about it. We're going to put the link in the description section. Okay. Before we move to some clips, I want to provide a little bit of a background. We have all been misled to believe that God is outside of us. Okay. If you could take the time to watch this 20-minute video, I believe you will be convinced that God is within. The sacred process that we're talking about heavily involves our pituitary gland, our pineal gland, and the optic thalamus. Once a month, the brain generates an oil or a secret secretion, a secretion that is secret. This substance, the ancient Greeks referred to it as Christos, or the Christ oil. I don't know about you, but it's fascinating to me to know that the ancients lived for 1,000 years because they utilized this process. The process, the extra years of living is enabled because this process, what it does, it provides you with a physiological regeneration, a spiritual regeneration, and new blood. It is also said that the process awakens and activates thousands of dormant brain cells. This certainly sounds like a form of ascension to me. All right, so the process with the Christ oil that's generated in the brain once a month travels down our 33 vertebrae. Jesus Christ was crucified on the cross at 33 years of age. That's also an important number to the dark forces. No coincidence there. All right, so this Christos generates in the brain. It runs down your 33 vertebrae, and then it runs back up the 33 vertebrae to your brain where the magic happens. We're going to play a few clips from this video that I've been talking about. And the first person that's in the video is well-known actor Jim Carrey. All right. Jim refers to the Christos, this sacred oil, as a sexual essence. But we all know he's from Hollyweird. Nevertheless, he gives an excellent Cliff Note version on the process.
Do you know about alchemical sexual alchemy? There's 33 vertebrae in your spine. There's 33 years in the life of Jesus.
Christ, yeah.
So this substance comes from your medulla, makes the trip down your spine to your sacrum, which is Christ coming down into human form.
Yes.
And if you don't squander that essence, that sexual essence, it ascends again and goes back up to heaven, which is your thing. It's also the story of Santa Claus. Why he comes down the chimney is because this juice or this whatever substance actually passes what's called the claustrum, which is where they got Santa Claus. So it goes down the chimney and back up the chimney.
Now we're going to listen to a few clips from my man Santos Bonacci. We're going to play the first clip.
That seed, that oil needs to return whence it came, in the midbrain. You see, as the oil ascends the spinal cord, the vibration of the oil of the Christ increases. And you see, first of all, the oil is differentiated in the pineal gland and the pituitary gland before it is sent down the spinal cord. And the pineal gland is the electric portion, and the pituitary gland is the magnetic portion. So the oil is differentiated and it is brought down the spinal cord via the pingala and the ida nerves. These are what is otherwise known as the kundalini and the kundabhatha. So it arrives at the sacral plexus and awaits for the germinating of the seed once a month.
Now for the second clip, we're going to play a clip of Santos explaining the Christos rising to the optic thalamus and then entering the pineal gland. By the way, folks, I'm sure the ancients didn't need to deal with a calcified pineal gland because of fluoride byproducts back then.
But it is magnified 1,000-fold. And the oil then touches the optic thalamus and for 2.5 days remains in a condition that is considered to be dead, and then reaches the pineal gland after 2.5 days and illuminates the optic thalamus and the pineal gland. The optic thalamus was known as the light of the world by the Egyptians and the Greeks because they knew their physiology and anatomy, and they knew that this precious oil, which descended from the claustrum, from the cerebrum, and was differentiated in the pineal and pituitary glands, and descended the spinal cord, they knew that it would ascend eventually, and that the enlightened portion of mankind were able to cause this Christ oil to ascend, so that it would ascend to the optic thalamus and cause it to be lightened. What in turn happens is that millions of brain cells that were dormant are now awakened. And you see, there are practices and there are things that are very, very detrimental about this oil, or that are detrimental to this oil. For instance, overeating and alcohol and sex practiced at the wrong time. These destroy the seed, and this is what is known as eating from the tree of life.
You see, we're taught that God is outside of all of us, and that's bullshit. The kingdom of God is within all of us. It's in our temple. I haven't done this process. I haven't tried. I'm sure I have many pineal issues. But someday I hope to clean it all up and give it a shot. Need to figure out when the moon is in my sun sign per month, but I would imagine that's probably the easiest part. We're going to listen to one more clip here by Santos. And this is where he's explaining about the land flowing with milk and honey as it relates to the pineal and the pituitary gland.
Whereas the Garden of Eden and the land flowing with milk and honey, that's upstairs. In fact, the pineal gland produces the honey, a secretion known as honey, which has DMT in it, and the pituitary body secretes the milk. This is the milk and honey. And the land flowing with milk and honey is upstairs. This is a sacred secret simply because the secretion, which comes from the sacral plexus, is one of the most important things that we need to know for physiological regeneration. You see, by saving the seed, one can actually live longer. In fact, the ancients used to live for thousands of years by protecting and keeping this secret and guarding it.
I surely hope you guys are able to watch this video. Fluoride, byproducts, is one thing. It's a nasty thing, but I believe it goes a hell of a lot deeper, pertaining to the overall attack on our minds. Does anyone know, on average, how many they're giving to infants until 6 years old? We're going to bring up a couple slides here from cdc.gov. Let's take a look at this first chart. If you pause it and do the math, you can see that the number adds up to 35 that they're giving children up to age 6. Bear in mind, this doesn't include any COVID or flu shots. All right, now we're going to bring up a second slide from the same cdc.gov website. Please take a look at this. Please notice how many times they have the word death, 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 fear, fear, fear. It's all bullshit. We're eternal light beings. All right, most of the people on the planet, most of us, would never think twice about all this stuff due to all the fear that they've instilled with disease and pandemics that the dark forces created to begin with. I want to bring up this cool-ass painting done by an artist by the name of Patrick Henningsen. I quote Patrick, "I think quite a lot of children didn't get jabbed because of this picture." All right, take a look at this. Thank you, Patrick. You're obviously a patriot, and your stand firm painting will forever stand firm in the minds of parents across this realm. I love drawing, and I do understand that it only takes a little bit of a key piece in the drawing to make it great. Sadly, the mother defending her child is what makes this painting great. What if the dark forces have given us some neurological damage with all of this? And it could possibly be altering the way we think. I think it's very interesting now. We're all seeing in the mainstream all these things coming out about autism. You know, if we think about all that this poison that's been given to us, and you put that in combination with the propaganda and nasty spell casting that's coming to us through the Black Mirror that everybody has multiple of in their TV, in their houses. Think about the combination of all that. Maybe that's why the veil is so thick and so many folks are failing to see the matrix. Some scripture. We're getting close to wrap up here. Revelation 18, verse 23. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. Have these pharmakia sorcery companies deceived the entire world? Here's another piece of scripture that I think may provide a little bit of advice. Colossians 2, verse 4. I tell you this so that no one may deceive you by fine-sounding arguments. I wonder if this has anything to do with coercion. In conclusion, we would like to provide some recommendations for decalcifying your pineal gland or cleaning it up. My favorite advice is early morning sun gazing. We're going to bring a picture up here from a channel known as @Pineal Gland Power. This channel is on Telegram, and I think it's an excellent place to follow for advice on decalcifying your pineal gland. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions or thoughts, please hit us up in the comments section. As we always say, never surrender. Anything's possible. God bless all of you, and those that know. Can't wait to be with you next time.